types of grass is another thing that we're seeing lots of folks look for. They're types of types of grass. Assume for our part of Texas, uh, there are a lot. Uh, the one that everybody grew up with probably St. Augustine if you live right here along the coast. As you move more towards the Austin, San Antonio area, more inland Bermuda grasses, and Dallas too. Bermuda grasses become uh, show up a lot more. I still don't know that St. Augustine might not still be what you find, but we carry. I'll talk about what we carry, and I'll mention a few others that are out there as well. But in general terms, there is St. Augustine, and there are a couple of varieties of that. There's Bermuda grasses, which is the finer bladed stuff that you see like on golf courses and sports fields, and then there are zoysia grasses, of which we carry three different varieties, and those are they're you've probably seen them. You don't see zoysia near as much as you see the St. Augustine and the Bermuda grasses, though. There are fine bladed ones, there are thicker bladed ones, and there are probably, I always just say the number 30, but there are a lot of different types of zoysias. We only carry three of them. Let me touch on the St. Augustine. So we carry Raleigh St. Augustine, which is what we keep out here on our yard year round. You can come and buy pieces of it year round, and we keep it in stock for the most part. That is what everybody is used to. That one requires at least 6 or 7 hours of direct sunlight per day to survive. So planting it up underneath trees and whatnot, that's not that would be ill advised. Uh, so we also carry Palmetto St. Augustine for that reason. Palmetto St. Augustine is looks just like the Raleigh St. Augustine for all intent and purposes, and it requires at least 4 to 5 hours of direct sunlight per day. 4 hours is kind of an absolute minimum, and as far as I know, there are lots of grasses that tout shade tolerance, but I do not know of one for our part of the world that can survive on less than 4 hours of direct sunlight per day. Uh, so the Palmetto St. Augustine is what you would use in that case. And you can, by the way, mix those two. Say you have a lot of Raleigh in your yard, but you're noticing some thin spots from a tree. First thing I'm going to tell you to do is to thin out those trees, raise them, thin them as aggressively as you possibly can, and get as much sunlight in there as you can, because any grass that you have is going to do better the more sunlight that you can get on it. So just keep that in mind. But I would say you definitely, again, if you have some thin spots as far as mixing on thin spots in the yard, you don't have to replace your whole yard with Palmetto St. Augustine. You could put the Palmetto St. Augustine just in the problem area and be just fine. You might notice a difference for a little while. They may go in and out of dormancy at different times but it's still within a couple of weeks. So you might notice one staying greener a little bit longer when we start to get that first freeze or whatever. So, anyways, you can certainly do that. That's the St. Augustines that we carry. And those are generally, there are others out there, but those are the two that you certainly hear most often. Bermuda grasses. We carry Tex Turf 10 and Tifway 419. Another one that you will hear, those are very common names. Another one that you will hear out there a lot is Common Bermuda. Common Bermuda is what generally they use on roadsides. Speaking of those seed heads we were talking about earlier, Common Bermuda, it's the one that has the little sprout that shoots up, and then it sprouts off three little seed heads that shoot off that little stalk. I don't know the technical terms for those things, but I do know that it produces a seed head, and that it is commercially available. It's what they're blowing out on the sides of the road and that green slurry stuff when they just build a new road or something like that, a new building, and they need to cover the dirt up. That's common Bermuda grass seeds in that slurry that come up, and it certainly has its place. It's kind of an ugly, stringy, coarse grass that we certainly don't recommend anybody put in their yard. The reason we don't carry it because we're selling people grass that's going to end up in somebody's yard. But it has its place because of that seed head. Say a drought, if the grass is put along the side of a road and a drought comes along and it's a bad one, and then it just kills everything back to the dirt. Eventually, when it rains, that seed head hits the ground, and those seeds are laying there, and it'll come back from those seeds. So it's got its place. It is not in a homeowner's yard, in our opinion. The closest thing we carry to it is called Tex Turf 10. It's a denser turf. It's not as coarse stem. The leaves are not as coarse. They're finer, and it doesn't produce. It might produce a couple of the seed heads, but they've pretty much they tried to breed that out of it, so that because those seed heads are not very sightly, so they got those out of it too. So it's a nicer turf. It gets used in homeowners' yards quite a bit. It's a lot of the Tifway 419 and the Tex Turf 10 are kind of interchangeable. I would say you see one in people's yards and one on sports fields and one on the golf courses. I will say on golf courses, Tifway 419 is what is used on the tee boxes and on the fairways. Usually the putting greens are a hybrid of some fancy type of grass that they can mow super duper short. So, but the Tifway 419 is kind of specific to golf courses. But homeowners' yards, sports fields, stuff like that, the Tex Turf 10 and Tifway 419 can both be used. The Tifway 419 is even thinner bladed and can be mowed even shorter than the Tex Turf 10. Both of them, you get better results mowing them with a reel mower. The mower that it looks like the old timey kind you just pushed and they were self propelled, and they were propelled by the wheels actually turning on the outside. Now when I say a rotary mower, that's a traditional mower everybody's used to. It's got the big blade underneath that spins like that. The reel mowers are the ones that turn like this, and they cut the grass like scissors. Again, they have their place, but they are now again they're gas powered too. By the way, they're just like your regular push mower, but I think they start at about $3,000, and they're very high maintenance because you have to sharpen all those blades frequently. And if you hire a service to come and use one of those in your yard, obviously they're going to charge a little bit more too, probably a lot more. And but when you drive by somebody's house and they've got grass out front that looks like carpet, that's what they're using. They're probably mowing it every 3 or 4 days, and they're using a real mower. And Bermuda grasses definitely do better with a real mower than they do with a rotary mower. Can they be cut with a rotary mower? Absolutely. Every pallet of grass that leaves here that's Bermuda grass, I would say 99.5% of them are mowed with a rotary mower once they leave here. So that's just a fact. As far as mowing goes, we also carry 3 types of zoysia. We carry the Emerald and the Cavalier, or the fine-bladed zoysias, and then we carry Palisade zoysia, which is a little bit coarser. Again, all of those do better with when you mow them with a real style mower. We sell a fair amount of it. The main thing we sell here is Raleigh St. Augustine. Second would be Palmetto St. Augustine, and then the zoysias are certainly last. They're more expensive. I would even say that the fine bladed zoysias, the Emerald and Cavalier, are a little higher maintenance. I think it's mainly because they're not very aggressive growers. And if they hit any bump in the road for whatever reason, drought stress, shade, or whatever, you get a thin spot and weeds pop up. And so that's one of the drawbacks to the fine-bladed zoysias. However, they are not aggressive growers, and they don't grow up into your flower beds and stuff like that, like a St. Augustine or the Bermudas and stuff like that would do. On the flip side of that, there's the Palisade zoysia, which is it has about the shade tolerance of regular Raleigh St. Augustine, 6 or 7 hours of direct sunlight. Whereas the Emerald and Cavalier, the finer bladed zoysias, if you tell me you have shade and you want zoysia, those are your options. They can survive on that 4 or 5 hours of direct sunlight, no problem. They all do better if you can mow them with a real style mower. Specifically the Emerald and Cavalier, they really do need that real mower. Not many people do it at our farm. It's the only thing that we mow it with. The blades are softer, I would say, for all the zoysias, but they're tougher. And so unless you keep an extremely sharp blade, it kind of rips the grass more than it cuts it when it's cutting. So that's something to keep in mind as far as the fine bladed zoysias. I say they're a little bit higher maintenance, and there's a reason for that. There's a couple of issues. They look fantastic. They certainly look fantastic when they come from our farm, because it looks like carpet, because we've been mowing it with a golf course mower ever since it started growing. So it's I would say it's a commitment. Most, like I said, the grass that leaves here is probably going to end up getting cut with a rotary mower, and it's going to be taller than it's intended to be. All I can say is keep a sharp blade, and it will probably be fine. The Palisade zoysia, it grows a little bit more aggressively, and it grows faster. It is a little bit more tolerant of mowing with a rotary style mower, the traditional mower that everybody has. Its only drawback is shade tolerance. It does not quite have the shade tolerance. If I had to pick one grass to put in my yard and I had all the sun that it needed, Palisade zoysia is what I would use. And I say that because it is different than everybody is used to. It's prettier than I think most of the grasses out there. It's very dense, very soft, and you walk across it and you leave footprints. It's very, very dense, and it's just a really nice grass. It is very easy to take care of. I tell anybody, if you've had St. Augustine your whole life and you're used to taking care of St. Augustine, it's pretty much the same program. Watering's the same, fertilization's the same, mowing's the same. You can get away with using that rotary mower. So there are certainly some great attributes of the Palisade zoysia. All the zoysias are fine, but if I'm picking, it's going to be the Palisade, as long as I get plenty of sunlight. Watering requirements are pretty much the same. Like I said, it's just pretty straightforward, and it is really nice looking grass. I guess the one drawback to it is price. All the zoysias are more expensive than the St. Augustines. We keep our price list always updated online. You can look, but right now, just thinking, I think that the zoysia is probably $60 or $70 a pallet more, which is, I don't know, whatever, 30% more than the St. Augustine. So, and that goes across the board for all the zoysias. So another drawback, I guess, for the zoysias would be like we only sell Raleigh St. Augustine by the piece. So all these other grasses, including zoysia, if you have a problem with a little area, you can't just come buy a few pieces of grass to do a repair, because we only sell it by the 450 square foot pallet. And unfortunately, we just don't have enough requests for zoysia to be able to, if somebody needs 20, 30 pieces, I can't, it never works out to where we can get somebody those pieces and get several people lined up at the same time. We've tried before. Occasionally it works out, but it is very infrequent that works out. So that would be a drawback to some of these other grasses that we sell. Those are the varieties that we carry. I would say there are other types of the St. Augustines. That's kind of what's out there. The two that we carry. The Bermudas. There's a couple of others that they've come out with. But the two that we carry, the Tech Turf 10 and the Tifway 419, are the ones that you hear most frequently. And the zoysias, people call us all the time, and I think that there's a lot of other farms out there that carry a lot of different ones. And they ask me how does it compare to Xeon or El Toro or something like that? I do not know. Speaking in general terms, there's the coarser bladed like the Palisades, and there's the finer bladed like the Emerald and Cavalier. Those are the three we have chosen for lots of different reasons, and they seem to fill the bill for most folks. So anyway, that's the types of grasses.